Hey everyone, just want to stop by real quick before this podcast starts and say you should like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to follow me on all my social medias at John D. Clouser, little same name as the name that you subscribe to on this YouTube channel. So enjoy this clip, and I'll see you guys on the other side. And I'm starting to sweat. Sweat, sweat, sweat.
Welcome to The John Show with your host, John Doogie Clouser.
All right. What's going on, everyone? How are you? We are here on a new episode of the Juan Solo Show with your host, me, Juan D. Clouser, John D. Clouser, whichever one you prefer. It does not matter. It is episode 131. Yeah, 131. We are here. Man, every time I do this episode, I know I say this a lot. I'm always like, can't believe I'm doing this. I can't believe I'm doing a 101 episodes, 131 episodes of these. I remember when I said it, 101 episodes of these. It's just, I don't know, super easy. They cost no money. I figure it can only help to light yourself, talking to a microphone, get some audio stuff, and you're literally working all body parts. It's like getting a full body workout. It's equivalent of a full body workout doing this for me. It's like for a filmmaker. Yeah, it's just fun. I enjoy it in that sense. It's always like, I gotta set up these lights, but it's always like, John, you enjoy setting up lights. Even when, like, the moment I start doing it, I'm like, this is so much fun. I like doing this a lot. But yeah, so we're here on this episode, new episode. I don't know, I got some stuff to talk about, but it's like, it's always the weirdest thing is like just jumping into it or anything like that. So like I saw this video. I guess this video's gone viral. It's the video that's the video of the week. I guess it's the first time that I can actually, like, maybe that's why I should start talking about the video of the week. But so I didn't know. So I remember growing up, and my sister came over to my parents. This is my adoptive family, and my sister came over, my adoptive sister, and she was like, yeah, like, I was at this barbecue and we just drank beer out of straws. And I was like, are you gross? And my sister's like, yeah, we got pretty drunk a lot quicker. And I sorry about that. Yeah, so I heard that when I was super young, that you can get drunk. I was like, I had to have been like 10 or 11 when I heard that. And I was like, okay, whatever. And it wasn't until literally maybe I saw that video, and then like I was listening to a podcast before I started this show, and they were talking about that thing, and I was like, they're like talking about drinking through a straw, and he's trying to get fucked up because this video has gone viral of this guy basically popping out 2 holes on a hot dog and sucking beer through it. Which in turn, maybe, I don't know. I'm not a big fan. I don't think I've had any except, oh God, that's a funny story. I don't think alcohol-wise, the only thing I ever have done that was through a straw is like maybe a margarita. But yeah, but when you drink through a straw, apparently, so there's some theories on it, because I Googled it before this podcast started. Okay, so one theory is that the straw acts like a vacuum and reduces oxygen, which increases intoxication, which makes sense. And I think that's like, it's kind of like, when you drink alcohol in a hot tub, it gets you drunk a lot faster because you thin your blood out, and all your blood goes to the tips of your fingers and your toes, and so everything else is just alcohol running through your bloodstream. So is that, and then another theory is that the alcohol vapor gets trapped in the straw and it absorbs through your lungs. So there's two different things, but it's really funny. I remember once I was dating this. She was like a physical therapist. She was a doctor of physical therapy. Maybe that's what it was. Any way you look at it, I should not have been dating her. She was way out of my league. Beautiful woman. God bless her wherever she is in this world. She got smart, and we ended things. And I remember I would get so fucking wasted with this woman. This woman could just drink. Oh God, it was so funny. She was from Nigeria, and she just could just drink like a sailor. I'm like, good God. And like back then I was like super competitive, and I'm like, well, if I would just go pound like drink for drink with you, drink for drink. And so we go out all throughout. We go clubbing. We'd meet up with our friends. And this one night, I was just fucking shit-faced, and I was just having a great time. I was just vibing really well with, like, her friends' boyfriends, and I was just like, fucking A, dude, we're just fucking killing it. And I remember connecting, like, I took all these straws, and I connected them together, and I would go, and I took my, like, when people were dancing, we were out on the dance floor, I would take the straw and put it in people's drink, and then I'd drink it. So it was like, this long enough straws, well, probably like that long, and it just went over people's shoulders, and I would just drink it. And I remember, like, that was the last time I hung out with that girl. But great story. I'm like, I still to this day, I only regret it a little bit, just because I in this world, she probably saw me do this, and she's like, there's no way in hell I can connect myself with this man anymore. Fair, completely fair, because you shouldn't. If you see a man connect a bunch of straws that's like 2 feet long, and then like is like reaching over people and drinking out of their drinks like with the straw, like you might be like, this guy has a fucking problem. Now for me, doing it is like, oh, it's just a story for now, a podcast in a for a short story or something crazy, script, character in a movie, whatever. But for her, she's like, this is gross. This is horrific. I should never be with this man ever again, which is fair, which is completely fair. But yeah, I was like, I remember doing that. And then I just remember, like, I remember thinking to myself, like, how is no one seeing this one? But they clearly had to have been seeing it. But I was like, I was wasted. So, like, your perception of this world is totally not real versus what everyone else's perception is completely real. So there was that. And then I'm like, oh my God. And then I'm like, if I get caught doing this, people are going to fucking fight me. People are going to want to fight with me, because this is stupid as shit. I shouldn't be doing this at all. Should not be doing this. Should not be doing this at one bit. But yeah, that was one of the dumb things I did when I was young. I was like, I had it in my mid-20s when I was doing that. I was 25, 26. Yeah, dating this just woman who's quite a bit older than me, or not quite a bit. She was established. She was like in her early 30s, so like 33, 34. And to me at that age, when you're 25 and you're dating someone who's 34, you're like, we're in two different worlds. We're in two different realms. Like, especially as a male to a woman, like, I'm dumb as shit. I'm still a child. I'm physically a man, but mentally a child. Still pretty mentally a child. Man, roughly. My body's falling apart. Just having to ice it all the damn time. It's great. It's a good time. Don't get old. But yeah, so it was an insane thing. Great learning experience, though. Great learning experience. I even remember when we were breaking up, she's like, I just don't think we should be dating anymore. It was really nice meeting you, really nice knowing you. And I'm like, did I do something wrong? It's like, when you have to say, did I do something wrong? You probably did something wrong. And it was probably you, John. John was probably building up all those straws and drinking other people's drinks. It was so insane. But this is way before COVID, and this is way before any of that stuff. So, woof. Hilarious, though, but woof. What? I can't even, like, look at myself in the eye. So, oh, God, I can't believe you did that, John. There's that, and then, God, what other... did I do anything else that was, like, incredibly stupid? When I was dating, I was just always doing dumb stuff. I remember talking about it with Aaron. Like, I was such a hopeless romantic being younger and as a younger guy, because what happens is, like, when you get abandoned, and one of the things I learned in therapy was that from being abandoned, what I'm doing is that you reenact your trauma, and then the reason why you reenact it because you want to try to fix it. And the thing is, you can't do that because that's not healthy. So what you have to do is you have to, you know, you have to be, you have to communicate. You have to be a productive person within this relationship, or trying to be in a relationship. You have to just be a productive person. And well, what happened? What the thing is that I was such a hopeless romantic, and the reason why I was like that was because I'm like searching for, and it even comes up in my art all the time. A lot of my writing, and like these stories have to deal with like having something, then losing it, then like feeling sad from losing it, or wanting some sort of connection or a moment, and then losing it or gaining it for a little bit, and describing it of how great it is, and then realizing that it's only a fleeting moment in time. Well, anyway, that's kind of how I was like living when I was young, early 20s, teenager and stuff like that, like when I ever started like, started getting attracted to females. And it was like, I think about all the time, like how fucking lonely I was. I was just so fucking sad on the inside. And it's just because, I was alone. I felt abandoned still, even though, I got adopted and had an amazing life and really had nothing really to complain about for the most part. I had a better life than most, white people, or most people who've, had their biological family their entire lives. But like, it's that sense of like wanting something, wanting a connection to someone, or just wanting a connection just in general, really. I've been saying fuck a lot. I shouldn't be saying it. It kills it. I think it's because like my story I've been working on, I say fuck a lot in it. So anyway, I digress. So that's what it was. And so I was just such a fucking moron. So I went to like El Paso I knew this girl from middle school, and then she moved away because her mother was from El Paso, and her father was from Montana. And I don't know how they met, because I think they met in the military. But then her mom wanted to move back down to El Paso to live close to their family, and it was really cool because like I was like, oh yeah, the reason me and this girl started talking was because she was Mexicana. And I'm Honduranino. And so I thought there was like be some sense of like, oh, we have this connection of like that, of like being Hispanic people, Latinos. And just like, you're dumb, but you do dumb shit like that to try to find love. Or like, I think anyone does that, really. I think a lot of people do that. And like looking back on it is like, what if I would have got it? I don't know what I would have done with it. Like, I wouldn't have done anything with it. I would have just fucked it up. Again because I was so stupid. And so I'm like, yeah, I'm glad this never happened. But it's like, good God. And it makes for good stories, though. It makes like I have so many weird fucking stories. I think one of the reasons why like I just have the weirdest things because of that. Because like a lot of the things I was doing when I was in my early 20s, mid 20s, even like now sometimes is like because of that sense of like abandonment. But now I'm a little older and I understand it now. I'm aware of where it's coming from, why it's there, and what to do with it after, for the most part. Hence why the story I'm working on, what it has to do with, because I'm trying not to be such an asshole. Like, you just like, it's a continuous thing. It's a little thing I like to say. Like, I'm envious of two types of people. I'm envious of people who can draw, and I'm envious of people who can be nice to everyone, because I suck at both. I suck at both of those things. I just do. And I'm honest about it. Like, right now, like, I can be completely, like, it's like, because my mindset is like, you might think I'm an asshole. You might think I'm the biggest fucking dickhead, but you're going to know exactly where you stand with me. There's not going to be this fake shit. There's not going to be this, like, oh, I'll talk to you, actually, like, make you think like we're friends. No, if I don't want to talk to you, I don't want to talk to you, and I'll let you know that. Hell, dude, I've had a fucking white dude try to put, like, I don't know why he wanted to touch my hair. But instead of like, he didn't even use his fucking hand. He used a pencil, which I don't know where this fucking pencil's been. I don't know where this, it could be in your mouth for fucking sake. I don't know. I just don't know. And it angers the shit out of me, because growing up, that was one of the big things I used to have white boys all the time put their hands down their pants and then try to touch my hair. all the time. It fucking angered the shit out of me. And the only reason I'm like, John, you can't fucking fight him. Because if you fight him, it's going to be a lot worse at home. Because your mom's not going to understand that. Your mom's going to be like, you can't act like this, John. You can't act like this. You have to be intelligent. You fucking ass. Like, she didn't say fucking ass, but she was like, you fucking dickhead. Don't be a moron. Because we had a lot of dipshits in our family. Apparently, I had an uncle who basically drank himself to death as I'm drinking a fucking beer. But like, I'll drink like 3 or 4. Like the most I'll drink 4 of these tall boys in a day. And after 4, I'm like, we are done, dude. John, you are toast. you're a burnt piece of toast. But yeah, it's like I'm like, oh fuck, and I can't stand that shit. So I get so mad at that. And he tried to touch my hair with, so I'm like, no, fuck that. And then I just never talked to him. I didn't make a big deal about it. Nothing like that. Nothing at all. And then he just came up to me one day and he's like, you're just never going to talk to me ever again? I'm like, pretty much. He's like, what? He's like, why? I'm like, because you can't do that. You can't, as a white guy, come up to a man of color and think it's okay to touch his fucking head. You just can't do it. Like, it just, to other people, they might be fine with it, but it triggers the shit out of me. And I know that. But the thing is, then he knew exactly where he stood. I didn't go up to him. I never talked to him ever. Like, from that moment that we had where I could have totally flipped the fuck out on him, right then and there, but I didn't. And I just never, I never caused a scene. I just snipped it and it was done. And yeah. But then he came up to me and asked me, he's like, exactly where we stood. I'm like, I told him exactly where it was. I'm like, I want you to go fuck yourself. And you can, like, gracefully, I just said that. And I'm like, and that was it. And I never have to speak to you ever again. It's no big deal. And it's really fucked like that because but that a lot of that I know that comes from my what you call trauma, and what that is my sense of like survival mechanism or survival technique of the sense. And like the thing is, like, it doesn't really bother me because it was like someone I worked with at at a job, so it doesn't really bother me with something like that. So it wasn't like a friend. If it's a friend, it'll be a little bit different. I'll be able to talk to him like, hey, bro, don't do that again. I'm going to punch you in the face. And then if I punch him in the face, we'd be okay. Because I'm like, an eye for an eye in my eye. That's how I would look at it. It's like, you try to touch me, I'll punch you. And then I punched you. And then we're good. Because I told you. I literally just told you that, like, if you try to touch, like, if you do that, I'm going to sock you. And because I would expect the same thing. Like, I wouldn't just go to I wouldn't go to someone, especially someone else of color, and go up and touch their hair. I just wouldn't do it because it's fucked up. It's fucked up because it makes you feel like a fucking animal. It makes you feel like an animal. And I wouldn't touch a white person. I don't want to be touched. I don't want you to touch me. So it's a common thing. Like, do what you want to be done upon you. I don't want to be touched. And so, but once you do that and you break that fucking thing, and I get fucking pissed by that. Because to me, I look at it as like, one, when I was in the orphanage, one of the nuns, Maria, she was like, Juanito, you can't ever let any punto touch your face. You never let any punto touch your face. Ever. And I'm like, all right. And so since then, I'm like, I can't let any fucking puto touch my face. Like, you know, it's just like, that's how it is. And if they do, they got to fight. You have to just fucking fight them. And, but yeah, it's just like the only reason why I never did that though in high school is like, because my mom, the wrath of her would have been horrific. And I just don't want to deal with it because I would have been grounded. I would have been grounded for weeks. And so I'd rather just be embarrassed a short time there. But because of that, now as an adult, I'm like, you can go fuck yourself hard because I will tear you up if you try to do anything like that. Like, I will, it's a switch. It switches real quick, and it's one of those things. It's not healthy. That's not a good thing to do. You shouldn't do that. And plus, I'm like 33 years old. I'm a grown man. You can't be acting like that. That's what childs do. That's what kids do. It's like, you're not like that. Like, are you? Oh, like, I don't want to. For fuck's sake, I do want to act like it, but then whenever you do it, you never feel good. There's never a time whenever you act like a fucking complete jerk off, you ever feel good afterwards. You're never like, yeah, I'm glad that happened. Like, it never happens that way. Like, do you understand? Like, I've got punched in the face by a man with Parkinson's once. Do you understand how much of a fucking asshole you have to be for the man that has Parkinson's disease in the room to come up to you and punch you in the face? It's insane. So, like, that's the level of dickhead I can be. And I don't like being like that. There's never been like a moment like when I act like that. I was like, yeah, this is how it should have happened. I'm glad that happened. When you get punched in the face, you got to look at yourself like, there's something I probably did here. Something you probably did. And that's the name of the game, Charlie. That's part of the game, Charlie. That's the game, Charlie. That should be the title. Should that be the title? I don't know why my fucking voice is going out. It's not even that late. It's like what, 10 minutes till 11. It's like I gotta get this podcast done. Once I get this done, I technically have already edited 457 words today. I have a deadline that's due on is it Friday, the 28th? So it's in this week. I think it's Saturday. So it's in but yeah. So it's like the story right now as we speak is roughly almost like 50, like what is it, 5,440 words, something like that. But I think a good solid like 600 words are going to be cut off just because it's part of like when I wrote it in such different ways. So it's about a guy, me, when I was living in New York, and I already told the story, and the cell phone, all that shit. Or I don't think maybe I not have told the story. Anyway, so I had a cell phone, lost it, all the story like that. Had a friend of mine. We used Find My iPhone to find it. All that stuff. End up like was a normal little kid. He was a normal guy. He was a teenage kid, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm so glad I found. I'm so glad you came out here, and I can give you your phone back." And you like you feel like an asshole. Like for me, like just how we've been talking about. Like you feel like I feel like that tall. And so it's a story about that. Anyway, but yeah. So like how I wrote it was like. I wrote this crazy beginning paragraph thing introing the whole story, but like I realized I think I'm going to use it more close to the end. But when I first wrote it, I thought that was going to be the opening thing. But my second paragraph ended up being it's probably the strongest paragraph that I've probably ever written in my entire life. I'm not going to lie to you. And so that is becoming the first paragraph because I think that's going to be enough to grab you and keep your attention because it talks about, living in New York and wanting to do all this and like trying to be like an aspiring filmmaker. And then it cuts into like, okay, so this is actually what the story is more like. Let's cut to the quick and get more into the depth of what the story really is. Boom. It's one of those kind of stories. It's like, I kind of realized lately I've been like going in and out of different story, like first person, second person, third person, anything like that. So I'm like, John, focus on one style of like first person. Just get really good at writing first person. And then when you feel like you've gotten really, really strong at that, start writing stories about second person and get really, 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 really good at that. And then after that, get really good at writing like stories in third person. And so instead of like going all over the place, and maybe either way is not that bad of an idea. I don't think it's really that bad of a deal, but I just want to focus on just one because I feel like I have a lot of like interesting little stories I can use in first person, and that's what the story's in. And I feel like my next list of stories I'm working, because like as soon as like I'll be working on a story. So this is how it works. So at the beginning of the month, I'll start a story. Well, I have already at maybe like 2 weeks before that I already figured out what the story is going to be. And as soon as I started figuring out what the next story is going to be, I write like a synopsis. I had to make sure my phone, I saw it blinking, the light. I'm like, okay, what is that? Like, I think it's the last blink because I could do like 3 blinks. And then after 3 blinks, it's like, lets me know how long I can film on my camera. But I'm like, I have like 5 minutes left. So you have the idea, you write your synopsis. You kind of write like a little idea of what the story is going to be about. Like boom, boom, boom. Like I do three your main ideas. So your beginning, which will have basically what the story, like the problem the story is going to be and what your character's going to do with it. Your second one is like, what's the main problem's going to be? Like, here's like, his shoes untied. He has to like figure out how to tie his shoes, but his hands are handcuffed or something like that. I'm just giving you some bullshit thing. He gets after that. And then the next thing is like, okay, well now he has to get in a car. Well, the car that he has a flat tire, so he has to change the tire. Okay. Then he gets the tire changed. He's going to the place. He gets to the place. Well, the doors are locked and he has to get in. And then after that, then the third one is like that's like your rising action, and the conclusion is like he gets to the place, whatever, and then he does whatever he has to do. Boom, that's your story. And so I'm like writing that, and so once I start writing that and that's done, my mind goes into like, okay, how are we gonna write this? First person, second person, okay. And I'm like, okay, and then I sit down, I start like my 300 words for the day. I write that, and then within those 300 words, I'm usually thinking, I'm like, okay, I need to have an idea for my next story. What's also great too is like I'm pretty smart with that because I write lists. So if some days like you'll get like, write a story about a guy and a girl fall in love and they buy a plane together, whatever. Next day is like, okay, we'll write a story about Bigfoot and how he befriends an alien, but everyone thinks this alien is actually a real human. Boom. I don't know. Like you just do like that, and you write little ideas. Like I always say, write a story about blah 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 blah. And what I always try to think of is like, take one idea, take another idea, meets each other. So take something like what I do with like waterproof rain boots. That is basically, I'm basically taking just a story about like waterproof boots because that's what I had to do. I had to use like the first and last line of a poem. And then I took that meets Forrest Gump. I just slammed those two things together and I wrote a story about it. That's basically what I did. That's how I think, is that you just take two ideas, you slam them together, because it's a lot easier for people to understand. Like if I'm like, okay, it's a movie about, I wanted to make a movie about like, war. So I'm like, it's going to be like Inglourious Bastards in the sense of like the time structure of like, that's the place and time. So World War II. But it's going to be then like, let's say like The Notebook. Boom. And like the main, like the storyline. So like a guy, he has a house, falls in love, meets a girl, falls in love with her. And you just slam those kind of two ideas together and you tell a story. I don't know how you do this, guys. I'm just trying to do it. That's how I do it. People are like, well, I think, because like it's always funny because like you meet another artist, someone who does something similar to you, and you're always like, so what do you do? Like because none of us have a fucking clue. We really don't. We have no idea what we're doing at all. But it's just, you just do it. And you just do it. Kind of like this. Like I've done 131 of these just because you just sit down and you just do it. And it's funny because like I always like starting new thing. I always I remember back when I was like doing like episode 56. I'm like, I should be doing more. I'm doing more now, and I'm like, fuck. I'm like always stressed, and I'm always fucking tired, and I'm always sore. I'm always sore too because from the gym. So it's like mentally, I'm like stressed and like tired because I'm always thinking of a story, and then my body hurts. And I'm like, well, tonight I need to do a podcast. Next day, like, okay, I need to edit, get some clips, all that stuff. It's just what you do. Well, guys, I have about like 30 seconds left. So I've gotten this far. Like, comment, and subscribe. And yeah, be safe. Hope you guys are all good. And I'll see you guys on the next episode. All right. Remember, just keep doing it. Do something that you haven't done. Get better at something. Just try to get better as a person. All right. Bye.